Welcome to the Dear Professor series, where college students who take courses online speak their minds. I am your host and e-learning strategist, Dr. Kelly Austin, who is honored to have a conversation with today's guest as she sheds light on her experiences as an online student. I've been teaching online since 2004 and made the tough decision to obtain my Ph.D. through an online program. So I've been both an online instructor and an online student. As a result, I know that some wonderful things are happening with online programs, as well as some not so wonderful things going on. The purpose of this series is to help professors and students experience a more fulfilling online learning environment by allowing students to reveal their needs and pet peeves. I hope that this information will support professors in making the necessary changes or adjustments in the design and delivery of their online courses, which should ultimately enhance student success and satisfaction with distance education. So if you are interested in hearing what students have to say about their lived experiences online, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that every Wednesday at 8 p.m., the latest episode will come straight to you. Also, feel free to comment about anything said and ask questions. If you're listening via a podcast platform, please be sure to follow and rate the series so that your interest and opinion of the show are made known. Now, if you are in academia, you are probably fully aware that so much is going on in higher ed right now. If you subscribe to the Chronicle of Higher Ed or Inside Higher Ed, your inbox is flooded with the sometimes jaw-dropping, unbelievable current events that occur in colleges and universities. Well, today, I would like to introduce you to the Professor's Week in Review, a journal for weekly reflections on the higher ed experience. I created this journal as a tool for processing, celebrating, planning, and just thinking deeply about what is happening week by week, internally and externally, while you navigate through your higher ed experience. Each week, the journal guides you using 9 prompts. And I know 9 prompts may seem like a lot, but once you get started writing, you may be like me and you can't wait to release your thoughts on the pages. However, there may be some weeks that you may not have much to share for every single prompt, and that is okay. After all, it is your journey and your journal. Use it as you will. One thing I can promise you is that what you will discover as a scribe is invaluable. There are no words that can express how beneficial this weekly practice will be. Therefore, I am inviting you to purchase the Professor's Week in Review, which I call the Wire Journal for short. You may order your copy from Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and Vervante.com by simply going to bit.ly/Dr. Kelly Austin. You may also access the link in the description box and the show notes. So I challenge you today to commit to journaling about your work experience and make it a mindful semester. Today, I am honored to have Miss Brittany White as my guest. Good morning, Brittany.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Dear Professor series.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I am so excited about our discussion today. I know the year is passing by, but we still have a whole lot of 2024 left. Are you looking forward to anything in particular this year?
I graduate at the end of 2024, so I am looking forward to walking across that stage.
Yes! Woo! Here's an applause. So, tell us about what are you graduating with and from and who and all of that if you want to share
So
that.
I'll be getting a Ph.D. in literacy. So I'm super excited to get hooded as an expert in this field.
Oh, so can I ask you what your dissertation is about?
Yes, my dissertation is going to be focused on reading comprehension in students third through fifth grade using a text structure framework.
My master's is in curriculum and instruction with the concentration.
Awesome.
Yeah, and literacy. So I can't wait to read it. I'm one of those nerds that reads dissertations. So I'll be glad to read yours. So, Brittany, tell us some more about yourself.
Yes, so outside of my coursework, I also run a reading clinic on my campus, and we tutor elementary school students in reading in the evenings after school. And I also work very closely with the Boys and Girls Club as well to host reading camps there. So if I'm not coordinating tutoring or hosting reading camps, I love to be outside. I'm in Texas. So on sunny days, warm days, I love to be outside doing outdoor activities.
Oh, wow. Do you know we have too much in common already? I remember when I was at UNCG, I worked at the reading clinic, and we used to, provide reports for parents, and
Mhm.
it was our coursework that we had to take a course for a whole year. And so I
Wow.
know how fun it can be, and how it's just so rewarding to help students and give them that one-on-one attention. What do you like about working for the reading clinic?
I love the growth that I see in the students because once they're learning, they become more confident and they build relationships with the tutors. And you can tell that the clinic is really a safe space for them to be once they're out of school for the day. And that's just such a beautiful thing to witness.
Yes. So, Brittany, what's your general experience with taking courses online?
So I've taken courses online pretty much for the majority of my career. I did it in undergrad when I was getting my bachelor's degree. And I took classes online during undergrad because I wanted to expedite my degree plan and my graduation. So I was able to take online classes to do that along with my regular classes. And
Mhm.
then when I got my master's degree, I did my master's degree fully online.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And then I've also taken a few online classes during my PhD program as well.
Okay. So, but most of your classes for your PhD are face to face?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, if you were to rate your experience with your online courses on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being outstanding and 1 being horrific, what rating would you give and why?
I would give it a 7.
Okay.
I would give it a 7 because there are lots of pros when it comes to taking online courses because you are able to move through your degree plan a lot quicker. You don't have a ton of face to face classes holding you back. You can kind of juggle them in that kind of way. So it makes things more efficient. It also provides opportunities to experience what learning is like at different universities without having to move and travel there. So there are opportunities there. On the downside of things, there are a lot of cons to taking online courses that could definitely be improved once you're actually in the course.
Okay. You probably going to share those with us later. Those
Yeah,
comments. Okay.
let's share those now.
Right. So, Brittany, let me ask you this. I've never asked a guest this before, but I feel led to ask you, do you think a program could ever earn a 10?
No, I don't.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Because that is so dependent on the professor.
Mhm.
Because even if a professor has a laid out step by step, make your program a 10 by doing these steps. Even if they do all of those steps, it can still not be a 10 because of the outlook and the perspective that the professor is bringing to the table.
Mm.
So, one of the cons that are so vivid for me, for example, is just the deadlines and the timelines of things. If there's a rule that says make your program a 10 by being more flexible with your deadlines, but you have a professor who their perspective of being flexible is only accepting assignments 5 minutes after, that's not really accommodating to the student.
Right.
And so it's important for professors to understand that every student is going through a learning process. So things would improve and be better if we can understand that online courses and coursework in general is not just about how much work you can submit on time. It's a
Yeah.
it's a learning process. And so if I'm showing that I'm going through my learning process and I'm working through all the kinks and all the things that I have to work through in this learning process, I shouldn't be penalized for where I am in the journey.
Okay, Brittany, so you have me thinking about something that I found that some instructors do not think about, and that is pacing, where you have a major assignment due today, and then 2 weeks later, you have another huge assignment due.
Mhm.
I did an 8-week program with my PhD. I mean, the courses were 8 weeks, every 8 weeks. And I remember saying to several of my professors, why do you all have a major project due that Sunday? We just started class on Monday, right?
Mhm.
And we're doing these discussion boards, Lord help. And and then you have this major, we've been in the class for like 6 days. That's not to me, I say give the student time to get in the course, look at the textbook, have time to research something. Why is something due major the first week? And so one of my professors, she was also my advisor, and we talked about it, and she ended up being on my committee too. And I saw, like, I took some more classes with her later, and she ended up not doing that. She ended up doing like the third week, the sixth week, and then the final week. And I was so appreciative of that, because a lot of times when people are in graduate school, they're actually working, they might have families, they have other things going on. So have you found that pacing is an issue when you take classes or not?
Yeah, pacing is a huge issue because with online learning, there are a lot of different moving parts you have going on, especially if you're required to watch a video or attend an online lecture on top of this big project that you have to get done, on top of the discussion board posts that you have to do to show that you're participating in the course. And those can get really annoying because not only do you have to make a discussion board post, it has to be a certain amount of words, but then you have to respond to 3 or 4 other people.
Right.
Or in one experience that I had, everybody had to respond to everybody. It was very overwhelming.
Oh my goodness. I
Yes.
hope this was a very small class.
It was it was 10 of us.
Oh, that's way, oh
It was
my
10 of
goodness.
us. Yeah, and everybody had to respond to everybody. Like, those things can be overwhelming and it's not necessary. It almost comes off as busy work.
It does, because let's think about it. In a real classroom, if you were having a discussion, would you respond to every single person in the class that made a comment?
No, no.
Exactly. And so I remember saying, this is not a discussion. Whoever called this a discussion board, this is not how real people talk. Real people don't cite while they're talking.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? I mean, you might, but I doubt you're at Starbucks citing, all the people when you're having a discussion with someone.
Right.
It's just really an artificial experience to me, and it's a way to say we're going to make sure that you know that your education is as valid as a face-to-face classroom experience,
Mhm.
giving you all these discussion boards.
Right.
But that was a whole nother podcast, so we'll move on to your needs now, Brittany. Let's talk about what you need as an online student. Now, a need is defined as something you require because it is essential or very important. When you click on the online course or courses that you're enrolled in, Brittany, what do you require or desire from the professor and the course to be successful?
For me, I need a straightforward syllabus. Be straightforward in what the assignments are, what the deadlines are, what the expectations are, how does the grading work. Those things are important. So a syllabus that's super wordy is not useful. Also, being able to in detail describe what you expect from your assignments so that I can make sure I'm on the right track. Another important thing is feedback on assignments. That's super helpful for me because then I can see where the professor is, what they're thinking, what direction they're trying to point me in, so that way I can make sure that I'm going in that direction as well. Another thing that's really important to me that I need from professors is to take an assets based approach to instruction. And assets based is really, since the research has become more popular, that term is getting thrown around a lot. But
Uh-huh.
we really do need to pay attention to that, because if I'm a student and you're approaching me with a deficit mindset, you're only looking at and pinpointing what I cannot do, and you're using those things to define me as a student.
Mm.
And that's not okay. Like, if I'm going to be successful in your class, then you need to be able to pinpoint where my strengths are and leverage those to fill in the gaps where the weaknesses might be. And that would help me to feel more empowered and take more ownership of my learning experience in your class. So if I do an assignment and I'm following everything that's listed in your syllabus, but whatever expectation you have, if it's still not meeting that expectation, yes, I need the feedback, but also tell me what I'm doing right. I'm
Mm.
doing something right. Point out some things that are going in the right direction. And then from there, use those strengths to point out the things that are weaknesses that are not going in the right direction, and how I can use my strengths to inform that. And that's a better approach to students actually feeling empowered through their learning process. Because when you're learning, learning is not equal to not making any mistakes. Learning means learning from your mistakes. And so having students not feel any shame and actually feel empowered as they're working through that.
Oh, Brittany, that was so well said. So you have three needs: the straightforward syllabus, the feedback on your assignments, and that assets based approach.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now, what about your pet peeves? Are there things that bother you about the online experience? Now, when we talk about a pet peeve, that's a minor annoyance that an individual finds particularly irritating. And it's something that may bother you more than it bothers others. And that's perfectly okay. So, when you have been taking your courses, did you find that you had any pet peeves?
Yes, the discussion board is my number one pet peeve.
Okay, high five. We can't see each other, but
Yes.
you do. Okay, go ahead.
Respond to one person and just be done. Like, I
Right.
made my post to show that I'm getting the content. I responded to one person. Can we just leave it at that? Like,
Yeah.
please. Another pet peeve is when a bunch of points will get taken off for minor errors, or even if I expressed an idea and then the professor responds and they say, "Well, I don't agree. I think it should be this." Should I get 10 points knocked off because we have two different perspectives?
Mm.
There has to be a difference between a standard right and wrong answer and being able to say, well, this is a perspective I have, this is a perspective the student has, and not penalize the student just because their viewpoint on a topic is different from yours. That's another big pet peeve that I have.
Yes. Those were so, so good. I found that happening with my dissertation as well. So you ready for that?
I'm not ready for this. I don't know. Keep me in prayer. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
Yeah. I remember even the terminology that I had chosen to use.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of my committee members saying, just use layman's term. And the word wasn't even a word that a person reading a dissertation would not know. And
Yeah.
I remember sending it to one of my other friends. She was also in a doctoral program at the same time. And she was like, what is she talking about? And I was like, somebody said, I'm in this group on Facebook. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Finished.
No, I
Uh,
haven't heard of it.
you should join it. I'll send you we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Anyway, so in the group, it's like a support group and people are getting doctorates and different things. And they were saying, look, it's your dissertation. You're trying to graduate. Just change whatever they want you to change. And it's just really hard because it's my dissertation, you know?
Yes.
So
Yes.
the one, and they always say, it's your research, but yet you have to succumb to you have to pick your battles when it comes to that. It's like I have a differing, viewpoint than you do
Mm-hmm.
about this thing, just like you just spoke about an assignment. And this is something that's major, my dissertation. And so you're going to just prepare yourself for that, to have to, and hopefully you'll have a committee where you all can agree to disagree, and they'll allow you to have that space
Right.
that you need to have a differing opinion. So I just
Mm-hmm.
thought about it. You said that, it came to my mind. So now we have made it already to the Dear Professor segment, where you get the opportunity to share your heart with the fellow professor that you have in mind. Imagine that there is an online bulletin board with sticky notes or messages from students to professors. What is the note you would leave one of your online college professors, Brittany?
Dear professor, understand that I am a learner. I'm not perfect. I'm a learner. Understand that I bring strengths to the table, and those strengths show themselves in a variety of different ways that I want you to be able to recognize. Understand that I'm not lazy. I have a life outside of your class. So, making assignments more accommodating to the student helps to improve all other areas of their lives as well. It's not only about your time, it's also about the student's time as well. So understand and invest in my learning process to help empower me and build me as a student.
Oh, Brittany, I appreciate how you shared that you are a learner and that you are not lazy and that you have a life. Do you feel like professors forget that about students?
Yes, they do. And it creates such a gap because the professor will say, well, I have a hard deadline and I'm not accepting any assignments after that because I have a life and my time needs to be respected. In the same token, don't give me a mountain of assignments or pace things in such a way that is difficult for me to navigate because I have time and I have a life too. So both sides need to be considered.
When you mentioned more accommodating assignments, can you help the professors out with understanding what you mean by that?
With more accommodating assignments, making sure that every aspect of the assignment that needs to be completed is meaningful.
Yes.
That you're not making something 20 pages just to say that you have this hard project in your class. If it's going to be 20 pages, make it a meaningful 20 pages. If there's a big project that's due, have students work on smaller chunks of the project throughout the semester as smaller assignments, so that way it builds up to that big project at the end. That
Yes.
a professor did that, and that has been super helpful for me because we've had small assignments to get done throughout the semester, and the professor, he would give very detailed feedback, and each set of instructions for each part were so detailed. And
Yes.
so by the time I had worked through those smaller assignments, I was able to take those smaller assignments and put them together for my project, and it was exactly what it needed to be.
Brittany, I can relate to what you're saying. I remember the first time I had that happen was when I took a qualitative research course.
Mhm.
Our actual discussion boards, at first I was really, annoyed because our discussion boards seemed like mini papers, but
Mhm.
they were components of the final paper that we had to write, the qualitative research paper that we had to write at the end of the course. So
Right.
we got to the end, and even our papers in between that were subsections of that paper. So all of our assignments were headed towards that, ultimate goal of writing that paper.
Mhm.
So like you were doing busy work, and at the end, you were just pulling all that feedback together, and putting it into one major paper. And so I understand what you mean by that. When you say give those assignments, make them meaningful, and break down that major project along the way. Because honestly, when you have a major project, maybe it's just me, but have you ever submitted something and it took you so much time and the feedback you got did not reflect the amount of time it took you to do it?
Right.
You know,
Yes.
like you got and let's say you got an A. Okay, so what, I got an A. You only put great point, nice such and such. Like it's like maybe 5 comments on the whole entire thing that
Mhm.
took you forever to do. Have you ever experienced that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, we give students these weighty assignments, and then we don't take the time to give them that feedback that says that we actually took the time to look at it and to tell them they're, like you said, give them those pinpoint those strengths, leverage those, and then identify the areas that need improvement.
Right.
So, Brittany, I have enjoyed you so much. I'm going to share I've already repeated them a little bit, but I'll just repeat them again. Repetition is great for learning. As we close out, these are my takeaways from today's conversation is that when you're taking an online course, you need three things. You need a straightforward syllabus that includes those assignments and the expectations for those assignments and the course in general. You need feedback on your assignment so that helps you to improve and to grow. And you also would like for the professor to take an assets-based approach in which your strengths are being leveraged and they're not seeing you as a person with a deficit, right? But they're looking at you at your strengths and leveraging those to identify those areas that you need to improve in. Was that accurate?
Yes, 100%. That would make the experience so much richer because online courses, they really do open the door to being able to have a broader selection of courses and universities you could attend. So if professors could get on board with those core things, it would make the experience so much better for students.
Yes. So as we close, Brittany, what are you most looking forward to in having your doctorate?
I'm looking forward to being able to help parents and being able to help their children learn to read at a faster rate and at a better rate. I'm also looking forward to empowering other teachers who aspire to teach children how to read and how to comprehend text. I'm super excited to just be able to travel the world and wherever I am, being able to teach anyone how to read and just seeing them grow more confident.
Well, Brittany, I just want to thank you for being a guest and I wish you well in all of those endeavors. I am so grateful to you for focusing on literacy. It is so important and just for being an educator, period, in these days and times. And I hope that all that you're looking for, your graduation, keep me posted, is everything that you hope for and so much more. I want to thank you all for joining us. Remember to comment, like, share this series with 1, 2, 3 people this week. Follow on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe on YouTube. I look forward to spending time with you next week on the Dear Professor series, where college students who take courses online speak their minds. Bye-bye.